Good Friday morning, everyone. Step in with me for a few minutes here. If you clicked, I want to invite you to stay with us today. We're doing a very significant time, as you know, on many levels. Lots of things happening. Today I want to talk about the toil of love. It is Good Friday. For my Christian friends, it's also in the middle of Passover. And I'm going to tie all that together with you into today's topic, toil of love. So grab a moment in the middle of the noise. Grab this moment in the morning before you get into your day, because I believe it's going to change your day. So just take a breath with me here. Interesting, they say the darkest hour is right before the dawn. Liberty's with me today too. You want to say hello, girl? Can you see her? There she is. Say hello. Say hello to everyone. Yeah, say hello. Yeah. Liberty wants you to meet her in the morning too. Right, girl? All right, let's talk about it today. And by the way, when's the last time you got your hair cut? I'm like, I can't remember the last time I got my hairs cut. So anyway, I like the hat. Let me know if you like the hat. I really am digging the hat. But let's talk about it. I'm going to read from the Self-Reliant Entrepreneur today. It's called The Toil of Love. And then I'm going to bring my own personal reflection to you. And I invite you to share something that's on your mind and your heart. You know, I did a thing yesterday that the average person knows 600 people. And out of those 600 people, do you think there's a portion of those people that are stirred up? Stressed? Yeah, I mean, of course, right? I mean, we're stressed sometimes. We're going through it. So let's grab something today. All right, will you? Will you stay with me? Will you grab something today? Say, I'm going to grab something today. Say that. Or ask yourself a question. What can I get today? What can I grab today that can dramatically change my course? What do I need today? What do I most need? What do I most need to give today? Let's jump in. April 10th, Toil of Love. Happy Good Friday, everyone. We're Good Friday. We're in the middle of Passover as well, and lots of things happening. So let's read Toil of Love. I had no time to hate because the grave would hinder me, and life was not so ample I could finish enmity. Nor had I time to love, but since some industry must be, the little toil of love I thought was large enough for me. Wow. I got chills. It's interesting. This was written by Emily Dickinson. Life, the complete poems of Emily Dickinson, written in 1855. It's a very short verse. Enmity is ill will towards someone else. If you're not sure, I had to look that one up myself. But let's talk about the author's reflection on this. Great poetry is most difficult form of writing. Why is that? Well, imagine in 4 lines or so, Dickinson covers love, hate, death, afterlife, and personal choice with no fat or fluff. Life is short, and since you can't take love or hate or enmity, mutual hatred, to the grave, you might as well choose the little toil of love, since you must do something. Now, some might suggest that Dickinson is merely expressing a lack of passion in her own life. But here's the deal. Love is just a choice, and you get to define what it looks like to you. How does fear creep into the definition of your love? And today, you might argue that the greatest reflection of love was expressed, right? Through expressing a lack of, right? It says, You get to choose what love looks like to you. You get to choose what love looks like to you. How does fear creep into your definition of love? Now, that's a really good question. So this is about the self-reliant entrepreneur, and it's talking about, I'll take the little toil of love because, I don't have time to hate. And really what she's saying, that's my dog in the background, so it is what it is. She don't have time to hate. And really she's saying she doesn't have time to love, so you might as well choose the toil of love. And the reflection is that love doesn't always feel good, does it? And if you look at today, right, love does not feel good today. The reflection of what love was doesn't necessarily feel good today. Let me talk about today, because today is arguably the greatest reflection of love ever. The greatest known reflection. Certainly there's people that have died for other people. We know that in history. But this is the most prolific story ever told. Regardless of your beliefs, one man took it upon himself to die for humanity. And this isn't about what me telling you what to believe. It's just, but there's a great thing I want you to draw from this today. Regardless of your faith, I want you to pull something from this today, because that's what matters. And this is a great thing about the toil of love and how love doesn't always feel good. So I really want you to get this before I talk about my other reflection on this. How does fear creep into your definition of love? So let me continue on with where I can really drive this home for you and really, so you walk away better. Like, that's what I care about. You're going to walk away better, especially during this time. There's no better time. See, this is a very unshaky, stressful, fearful, in some cases horrific time. But for some of us, and I think for most of us, there's no better time. There's no better time. And I'll give you a couple metaphors. Here we go. So it's Good Friday. We know that today's the day that Jesus died for humanity. And regardless of your beliefs, stay with me here. There was a resurrection, right? So there's death and resurrection. Now, arguably, we could say that there's a collective death of what we thought of the way things were. And I believe there's going to be a resurrection of something brand new and beautiful in the midst of all of it. But here's the question for you. Here's where I can drive it home for you. What needs to die in you so you can rise? It's Good Friday. You're either in the middle of Passover. If you're Jewish, if you're Christian, you know that today is the day that Christ died on the cross. But let's drive it home for you. What needs to die in you so you can rise? Consciousness and awareness is the gateway that you're truly seeking. What have you been feeding? What have you been feeding that is holding you back? If I can bring that to your attention through this question, and you start to understand what's holding you back, you will understand what you're feeding, maybe unconsciously, that's allowing this thing to persist that needs to die, so you can rise. What you're feeding, might be feeding you, is the news feed, for example. The news feed is what you might be feeding yourself unconsciously. And you're feeding that, and it could be causing fear. Because this type of a thing, hysteria, takes on its own hypnotic rhythm, and it can pull the masses into a collective trance. And if we go into a collective trance and we buy into everything that we see, I'm not saying you should not, this isn't a non-compliance. This has nothing to do with conspiracy. It's none of that. But it's about, what are you feeding your mind that has maybe taken over and causing you to do things that you wouldn't normally do and behave in ways that you wouldn't normally behave in. But here's the good news. When you bring this to the surface you're free to stop feeding yourself the wrong things, and then you can let it go. On a collective scale, on an individual scale, I don't know if you know this, I shared this in some other videos, but do you know in the certain parts of the world, specifically the United States, where the redwood trees are? You know the redwood trees? I love studying this kind of stuff because the redwoods are the most incredible. I get chills just thinking about the redwoods. Why? Why do I get chills thinking about a tree? Hey, buddy, listen, those trees, some of them are 2,000 years old. So a 2,000-year-old tree does intrigue me. But here's the thing. When they have the forest fires, I don't know if you know this, but what happens is all of the dead undergrowth burns away. So think about this. Dead growth that's been hanging on too long. Forest fires, a horrific thing, comes through and burns it all away. At the same time, I don't know if you know this, but it causes the redwoods to drop seedlings from the heat. They drop seedlings. So you have a dual process. The dead stuff burns away, dead growth burns away, seedlings drop, resurrection, new growth. But it took the fire, the forest fire, to burn away the dead growth. What needs to burn away? And that's not a pleasant process, right? So we're not going through a pleasant process right now for many of us. But what do we need to let go of? Can we love more through this? Can we embrace the fear, let the fear go so we can love more during this time? And we can let the fire do its work, but not let us, see, if you're conscious of the fire, you can get close and let it burn away, but it won't burn you. It won't overtake you. That's key. But if you're not conscious, it's just the opposite. It might burn you to the ground. It might pull up old triggers, old patterns, old ways of living that are not in your best interest. This is a golden opportunity for you to resurrect. It's a golden opportunity for you to begin anew. How have you been living? What needs to change? What needs to die so you can rise and create a new beginning for yourself? This is Austin. This is Meet Me in the Morning, number 14. If you're tracking with me, we created a platform called emergencylifecoach.com. Support for life's unexpected twists when you need it most. We have a Facebook community page. We have a free coping activity that's available right now. I'm doing everything in my power organically to get the message to the world. Before I spend an ad dollar, I want to get through phase 1, and I'm asking your help. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for you to share this video or share my page or share emergencylifecoach.com, because the average person knows 600 people. And I would venture to say out of those 600 people, some of them are going through a hard time. And to have a service that's at their disposal is incredibly valuable. Emergencylifecoach.com, free coping activity. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the Emergency Life Coach community page with you here, and I'm going to share emergencylifecoach.com. God bless you on this Good Friday. I love you. I trust what you need will show up when you need it. Be more conscious and aware. Be willing to let go of the fear that might be preventing you from loving more deeply. Have a great day, everyone. Blessings.